This is Cmhazel. I'm going to read this text as I memorize it, try to watch myself. I've read it a couple times, so I'm a little bit emotional. Here goes. This is a text I wrote the night of the conversation. And I'm just gonna get into it. This heat, I feel like it's beating on my already twisted psyche. Like it's pushing on the edges. It's like a dark satire. There's poison that requires an escape valve, you know. Otherwise, Jane becomes a really, really bad girl. I don't feel like my usual self. This fan barely helps with this insane heat. Not to mention the relentless darkness, which, you know, has been an ongoing circumstance. I know I don't say much at times, but don't let my silence fool you into thinking I will stop. My cranky mind, holes and all, has created a record of this entire speech. I fear repeating it because it sounds vicious. While I recently had the displeasure of understanding why a lot of what's happened to me has happened. During an episode of dramatic nostalgia of cinematic quality, mind you, in the form of a Stephen King short story. Though the fact remains that the writer's prose and his horror tales have come to be a form of salvation in many ways. I envisioned horror which what my subconscious mind saw as scalloped edges. Frayed at the rims, if you get my meaning. Here's what I thought. Let's imagine for a moment that the powers that be need to collect the wretchedness from our human sacrifices, and to do just that, they use a machine akin to the humanoid vampiristic monsters existing somewhere. They manipulate what they can to... I know you think I'm crazy at this very instant, but listen, human suffering as a way to alleviate their hunger. A hunger for wretchedness. It's an energetic sucking mechanism. A contraption to leech off energy, I'd say. I woke mid-morning yesterday, groggy and with sweat trickling down my back. Sharp images from the vision floating in my mind. Terrifying. People wore these masks with tubes ending in this fright machine. The screams of the innocent gave them energy, and it collected like a seeping black liquid into receptacles. I sat near the window in a semi-conscious state and laughed after thinking it was a more sinister version of a children's movie I saw. realize the following. I am positive that with the power of the modern world, we are isolated from. In the magic of a thing called the internet, we are forbidden from using, together with the now shut-off electricity we need to feed it. A few clicks away, this information rests at some point. There will undoubtedly happen about it, but although I can't quite place the beginning of my sequence of thought, I feel misplaced. Mentally and emotionally, by these imposed restrictions. Fascinating thought came to me. I am turning my head and praying for a kind of mental salve that will help me deliver this in the most understandable way. Yeah. The tiny hot box where I sleep in the dark makes me think there's a mightier than thou prick who has been playing God with my life. Insofar, inflicting a punishment I apparently deserve for whatever reason, or with pleasure of delivering an obvious malediction, no question. And I find myself thinking, it's actually a saintly cleansing. I am us guilty of undeserved judgment sit powerlessly here, waiting for fearing an infestation, an injury, and death. I had this crazy idea of how hate and desire to see somebody suffering works. Complaining doesn't work. We are the violins that are crying at our own funeral and all that shit. And then here's the what if. What if suffering, what if suffering is purifying our souls toward a more deserving life? Does an unwanted flagellation in the shape of a hot box that doubles as kitchen, living room, and semi-working bathroom with a poor lighting and a receptacle for water in which we save enough to bathe and wash before the service ends? So I thought, maybe the powers that be make you conform to the pain. Make you conform to. Enlightenment. 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 Enlightened. Growth in harsh environments. How can you say such a thing? Where do you come off saying this to us? Don't pat yourself on the back. feeding us that self-righteous speech. I think how suffering, pure and deep existential suffering, the kind that makes you raw and angry, is not essential to understanding pain and suffering. Neither is it a conduit to enlightenment. I can assure you, you sadistic assholes creating this ongoing horror show, that were I to have a choice, this is the last circumstance I'd be suffering in. I'd be making an effort elsewhere to live mildly under strain, and you will know most of us do and deserve. We are left without a choice, without appeal, without a right to refuse. Trust me, there is such a thing. I never thought it possible, but there is. There is. This wrongdoing, this injustice, whatever scratches the sick fuck's fancy, it doesn't eradicate the fact we are living it. We are living it. It's real to me. It's very real to all of us, and very destructive. Do you hear me? Do you hear me? Do you hear me? Do you hear me? I'm going to try and make best of this karma concept. And I will lay sideways in this hotbed, waiting for morning, humming the same song I do every night to try and distract my angered mind from producing any more poison, which I am now convinced generates deadly energy, promotes the production of toxic enzymes, energetic fields. The inventors of the fright machine have no use for it. And we wouldn't want that. Let's try to work toward gaining some more sleep while we are otherwise powerless to do much else. Like the rest of this entire cell. My mind has run out of lucubrations, it seems. I guess, tapped out of steric poison. I bid thee good night. Happy dreams.